What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to High School Never Ends, a Pop Punk Dad podcast. I am Wingman Steve.
And I'm Chris 180C.
Hi, Chris 180C. I like how you do that. You're supposed to continue on with the...
I thought you had more commentary. No, thank you. I appreciate it. Actually, I'm Chris 183, and I'm glad to be here, Wingman Steve.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad you are too. I wish that if we shared the video, everyone could see, because you've gotten very clever with naming yourself on Zoom things that relate to the episode, or sometimes it just says cream of feet, which really throws me off. But regardless, we are here at the end of Forgotten Favorites February. It has been a fun time, and it has all been thanks to our High School Never Ends Jeopardy! Tournament of Champions winner, PunkishDad. What up? We're welcoming you back for this final episode in your series.
Yeah, what's going on, guys? Thanks for having me back. Glad that I'm still welcome, and looking to wrap up this month of Forgotten Favorites February with what I feel is a pretty strong closer. So we'll see how you guys feel about it.
I think so too. And you know, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but because you've done such a good job, you're the booker for the show now. So you just tell us what to do. You book our guests. We show up. We record. Thank you. This has been great to not do any of that stuff for this month.
That works.
I'll tell you what, though, it's not for the faint of heart. You guys have been doing this for, 6 years now, a little over 6 years. And that even just coordinating for a month, it takes a lot of emails and texts and phone calls and just trying to get everybody where they need to be at the right times and ready to go. So it's admirable what you guys have done and built. And it's been a lot of fun to just be a small part in it for a month.
Thank you, sir, for all that you've done for us. And congratulations again on your win. Since this is the last Forgotten Favorites February, why don't we allow you to introduce your guest and your album of choice? Give us the intro here, buddy. Put you on the spot.
Yeah, on the spot. Let's see how I do. Happy to do that. So today we have a good friend with us. This is somebody that I met through the wonders of the internets and the Instagrams and all the social media fun. We have a gentleman by the name of Chris who physically sits not that far from where I'm located, less than an hour away. So sometimes the internet can bring people together who didn't know each other before, but we kind of bonded over pop punk, guitar, nerdery, and music, etc., and even had the chance to meet up at a Blink show for the first time this past fall. So that was pretty exciting. So I'd like to welcome Chris to the show.
All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it, PunkishDad. I'm happy to be here. Great to meet you guys.
Are you going to be like Punkish Chris? Do you have any, little moniker that we're going to go by, or we're just going to have to Chris 183 and Chris?
Maybe just Chris. We'll have to come up with one throughout the show, maybe.
I like Punkish Chris. Is that okay? Do you do guitar videos on the internet?
I make an attempt. Yeah, my brother and I make an attempt to have a page like Lad. So,
what if he's not punkish though? What if he's just?
Are you punkish?
What if he is?
I would say so.
Punkish.
Or are you punk?
Sure. I would say punkish. Okay. I would say punkish. I can't go all the way punk.
Or emo Chris? Are you sad?
Not super sad. No, I'm a pretty happy guy.
He's punkish then.
Maybe screamo Chris.
Screamo Chris could fit in certain times. So
We're just gonna see what rolls off the tongue and what you don't get offended at, and then we'll make our decisions how we proceed. But Lad, back to you on the album. What are we talking about today?
All right, gentlemen. Today we are going to discuss the album Vacation by the band Seaway. This is a Canadian pop punk outfit who have an interesting history. Maybe we'll get into that a little bit. But this is an album, another similar to the theme for the rest of the month, that I feel like either didn't make that big of a splash, or maybe it did and it was just kind of quickly forgotten about and maybe didn't get its due. So hopefully some folks will discover it for the first time or do a revisit and see what they find after this episode.
When you say Canadian, how Canadian are we talking here? Are we talking like right over like Toronto, or are we talking like deep into Canada? Like
you had the question, didn't you? I don't remember for sure where they're at.
It's Oakville, Ontario. I don't know exactly where
Oakville.
That is.
That's very, very close to the border. Well, it's within reasonable driving distance, I believe, of the border, because I've been there.
You've been to Oakville, Ontario?
I've been to Ontario.
Well, Ontario is big. I mean, Canada's big. It's like a one of their several states, isn't it?
I don't know.
I think it's big.
I guess I've been to Toronto. Is it close to Toronto?
Let's take a look. If we were to pop
We
open
love geography
the
on
Google
this
Maps.
show.
Yeah, we do. It's actually not. Yeah, so essentially, it is not that far north of Buffalo and Niagara Falls, and
There you
it
go.
is quite close. It's a little bit south of Toronto.
So we could get there if we wanted to.
I mean, you could drive there. Yeah, sure.
So
You
we'll
wanna see
call
my-
it
You want to see my map? Here
we'll
it is.
call it shallow Canada, like, instead of deep Canada, like the shallow part of it.
Does
Like,
that
they're
change your
easily
opinion on
accessible.
them?
Yes.
Please do elaborate.
No, it's just the change of opinion. I have nothing else to say.
I mean, they're practically Midwestern. I mean, it's just right above there.
Which means they're very polite. Sorry to our Canadian friends who didn't win the gold medal in hockey. I know that's a sore subject right about now, but USA, USA, USA. It's all good.
They did get a stuffed animal, though.
Yeah, they didn't look too happy with that. But I would be happy to be on vacation right now. It is cold and snowy in the Northeast, and I am happy to be on vacation with this record. So, PunkishDad, I have never listened to this record. Chris, have you listened to this record? Chris 180C?
No, I have never listened to this record. It's funny that I thought in my head that I had heard a lot of Seaway, but I don't think I maybe consciously have.
Well, we did one
heard a
album
lot of
on them.
Seaway. Did we?
Yeah, we
I don't
did
remember
Hoser.
that. Did we?
Somehow I think PunkishDad picked it too. I don't know how.
Well,
that-
here's
right?
here's what happened. You left it to the masses. It was a democratic process, and you put it in your stories, and people were able to vote on which Seaway album to do, and they chose. I think it was Hoser,
Mhm.
and I was very disappointed. I went on both my Instagram accounts and voted for Vacation because I really wanted you guys to do that one. But I
Wow.
respect the democratic process and let you move forward, of course. But now, this, as luck would have it, we have another opportunity
So
for you.
he
to
let
hear
that
Vacation.
bubble inside of him for like years before
It was
he like,
festering. It was just festering in
"It's
there. Yeah.
time."
I had no idea. I did have an idea because I did the album. We did that, but
You were there, I promise.
I forgot. I completely forgot. It's a gap in my mind. So
Wow.
I cannot remember that at all. I can't remember if I liked that one or not. But other than that, no, I've never listened to this album.
All right, punkish Chris, emo screamo Chris. Give us a little bit of your background. It's your first time on our show. What'd you grow up listening to? Your buddies with PunkishDad here. What's your go-to? What's your relationship with this band? Give us a little abbreviated background.
Sure, I can do that. So Seaway is significant to me, I guess, because when I found them, I wasn't looking for them. Pop punk has always been my roots. Blink definitely is where I started, late 90s skateboarding in front of the house. That's where I was introduced to Enema of the State. And it was just kind of, over from there. Found the Sydney Big Day Out videos on YouTube. And that was it for me. Green Day, Newfound, The Starting Line, kind of all those late 90s, early 2000s bands were really how I cut my teeth on it. Excuse me. But pop punk being the roots, the 2010s, period, I guess, is one that I really sort of missed out on. It was very much a metal phase for me, when The Story So Far, Neck Deep, kind of all those bands were kind of coming out. I kind of missed out on that. So, it wasn't me that was going to find it. It had to find me, and Knuckle Puck somehow broke through and found me. And through Knuckle Puck, I found Seaway. I went up to Burnsville, Minnesota, I believe, somewhere near the Twin Cities, for a Knuckle Puck show, and Seaway was the opener. And they grabbed me right off the bat. And then I believe they only showed up on one Warped Tour, and I caught them at the Milwaukee tour date when they were there. And I want to say there was a third show that I saw them, and I couldn't, going back through my camera roll, I couldn't figure out where that would have been. But yeah, that's kind of the Seaway, how I found them, or, I guess how they found me during that era. So
Dude, it's always really cool to find a band for the first time, just seeing them live. Like, you don't know who they are, they're opening for somebody else, and you're like, wait a second, I should listen to this. And that's how I found Hot Mulligan for the first time, even though that they're probably way more popular, but I had never listened to them. They opened for Newfound Glory. I was like, wait a second, I really like this. And then decided to keep listening.
Sure. Yep. Couldn't agree more. That's the best way to find them.
I thought I told you about Hot Mulligan. What are you talking about?
Negative. I mean, you told me, you were like, we should talk about this on the show and like listen to a full album, but I saw them live and way before that.
I don't know.
Same time as I saw Lolo, I started to like her too. She was good. They were both the openers.
Let's go back and do some research on that because I don't know.
Okay, I can find the exact date that I saw them.
But I know the exact date that I told you.
No, you don't. It was sometime later. But anyways,
I take notes on that stuff.
So Chris thinks that he's listening to a band for the very first time when we have already spent like an hour to an hour and a half talking about the album. Chris, what did you think of Seaway for the first time here?
Me, Chris?
Yeah.
I thought it was very similar to this era of pop punk bands. I don't know if that is the best way to put it or not, but I guess if I'm thinking about, bands in this, so let me make sure I have my decades correct. Because Seaway had been around what? Let's see if I can get my
first one 2013, this one 2017.
So I'm right on track then. I'm talking about the 2010s. The other Chris alluded to it. But there's definitely a sound during this time period. It was for a lot of these pop punk bands, outside of the harder core ones, they had a very, very poppy type sound that could potentially belong, in, any kind of movie or TV show for teens. Like it was very friendly, very, very accessible to a lot of people. Easy pop music to listen to with like a twist of punk to it. And this band is in terms of this album, I think it had that particular sound. So I think that, if you think about, the things that I like, it didn't necessarily mesh with that 100%. Was there some exceptions on this album? Yes, I do believe so, because I think that they don't just stick to that exclusively. Like I feel like overall that's their sound, but I think they tried some really unique things throughout the album that are a little bit different. They definitely never really depart from that super poppy sound, but they mix things in to make it interesting. So that's my initial opinion about, the album itself, coming at it from obviously not remembering ever talking about this band. But yeah, those are my initial thoughts.
And Lad, why did you fester about this record and want us to do it for so long? Was there like something in particular that you wanted to shine a spotlight on? Or is it just a general, this is a good record and we should share it?
It's just, I wish there was a better story to it other than I just really like this album quite a bit better. I think Hoser was their first offering and it was a good intro. But they were still kind of getting their bearings, I think, as songwriters. And they just really had settled into a groove by the time they got to this album, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think I'll agree. They have 4 albums, and this is the second one I've listened to. We listened to Hoser, and I remember that I liked it. And this one, it's funny because we just did Hit the Lights, Skip School, Start Fights last week. And so the transition in my car on the way to dance class went from Hit the Lights to Seaway. And my daughter's like, Daddy, I think that like all male singers sound the same. And I'm like, no, I mean, it's just like, high pitched pop punk singers. And then I put on Unwritten Law. I'm like, this sounds different, right? And she's like, yeah, it does. But I mean, there is, even though this is 2017 and I didn't know about Seaway until the fans voted on it and we did Hoser, I think it's totally enjoyable. I feel like if you told me this album came out in 2006 or 7 or 8, I'd probably believe you. I feel like it's kind of a throwback to that with a few elements mixed in. Chris,
no, I don't think that. Look, I'm not going to rebut what you said. That's your opinion. I just feel like it does have that distinct 2010 sound. It does sound like Hit the Lights. Not exactly. It's not a carbon copy.
But that was 2008.
But it's in that vicinity.
Is this neon pop punk too?
I thought we decided that wasn't what that was.
Hit the Lights? I think it is.
You said that it wasn't.
No, we did.
You said. I thought you said it wasn't.
I think you're misremembering a lot of things. The Hot Mulligan thing. You're
misremembering
this,
but anyway, so
Hoser.
I just feel like, all time low. Like these bands have a distinct sound, and this is just one of them. Like it's just super poppy pop punk, and Yeah. So, I mean, that's where I'm at with this. But no, nothing necessarily specific to what you said. I think if that's what you're hearing, then fine. I don't hear it that way, though. I think it's definitely a little bit latter 2010s versus getting into the 2000s.
Ladder.
There's a little bit more of an edge.
Ladder. I get it. So Chris G, Punkish Chris, do you you've listened to all of Seaway's records, all 4 of them?
So let's see here. Hoser is where I started for sure. Colorblind, I got into that one too. This one I had gotten into far less.
Okay.
So I was glad that Lad, got me back into this one. So I have listened to Seaway through Vacation, and I kind of did that on purpose. Knowing that I considered listening to the full discography, before this, but I wanted to cut it at Vacation. So my opinion was Vacation and previous. So
you're going to fester on the next one, the Big Vibe, and you're going to have to win Pop Punk Jeopardy like 6 times. And then you're going to pick the next Seaway record.
I very well might.
Well, throw your name in the ring for next time. You're more than welcome to.
I will say that I struggled between choosing Vacation or Big Vibe because I really liked Big Vibe as well, especially the 2 opening tracks are absolutely perfect, but we'll leave that for another time. And as a whole, as a solid record, I think this is a good sampling of some 2010s pop punk, kind of a difficult era on a lot of fronts, just as far as how people consume music. And as I heard recently, Joel Madden was talking to Jordan Pundick of Newfound Glory on his podcast, and he basically said the 2010s was the most difficult decade to survive as a band. And if you could make it through that, there's been kind of a boom since the 2020s. It's coming back around. Millennials are getting older. They have more disposable income to buy vinyl and go to shows and that kind of thing as they get older. But during the 2010s, that wasn't necessarily there. And everything had moved to streaming, which was making absolutely no money at the time. So it was, this, and maybe we'll get into the history of the band at some point and kind of where things landed. But this, I feel like, is a solid collection of songwriting.
I saw that clip too of Joel Madden speaking and not letting anybody else talk on his own podcast. So the promo for, hey, I'm talking with Jordan from Newfound Glory and we're talking about their new album is just him talking. I mean, I really do enjoy Joel, and I like Artist Friendly. I want to listen to that episode, but I do get a kick out of the fact that it's mostly just him chatting. It sounds like you want to get into some history of this band. So I think I'm going to let you do it, Chris, unless you had anything to chime in there.
Well, I just wanted to ask a quick question unrelated to the band. Do we think that, and you brought up an interesting point, PunkishDad, do you think in the year 2026 that the large majority of those that buy physical media music buy it on vinyl? Like, is that the way to buy physical media nowadays? Is that the number one?
That's a really good question. I haven't seen any data on it. If I had to guess, I would say probably so.
What's the other option? Like nobody's.
I mean,
CDs.
You can buy
CDs.
Still some CDs.
You can buy CDs.
Dude, Best Buys are closing down. There's nowhere to buy CDs, let alone mass distribute them.
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's crazy though. I think it is, because when I go to the store, what I do now is I look for records. When I see people, like even on our Discord, like people show off records that they just got in. Like, it's crazy that we've come back to that. And that's how people are buying physical media nowadays, and I love it, right? Because
I think it's definitely number one. I don't even think it's close.
Records. Yeah. So
yeah, I would
anyway,
agree.
I just wanted to bring it up because I don't think we ever talked about it on this show. But no, let's go ahead and talk about some history, Steve.
Yeah, I don't have the history. All I know is these guys are from Oakville, Ontario, Canada. Then I just went on Google Maps and found out that it's kind of close to Toronto. And PunkishDad, tell us about the history. I know that they're not active right now, so how about I'll just spew minor facts that I might know, and then I'll let you fill in the gaps.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know too much about the early formations of it. I'm sure that's all on Wikipedia. But the interesting thing is where they're at now. And they just kind of stopped. They released Big Vibe. That was during 2020 pandemic era. And so there's no touring or anything going on. And since then, they've just been pretty much radio silent. But there was some controversy with one member of the band, a founding member of the band, all of a sudden finding himself on the outside of it. But him claiming that he still had ownership to the band name because he was a founding member. So it kind of ended in a legal dispute and went nowhere. And now all the members have kind of gone off to do their own thing. So Seaway, as we know it, at least, as far as I can tell, on the internets and the Reddits and everything else, is they're just kind of on indefinite hiatus, and who knows if they'll ever reconcile and make their way back as a band, or if everybody will just go off and do their own thing.
Kind of sounds like one of those situations where it's just like primed for a, reunion, like get together. I don't know what went on, of course, and if there were legal disputes, that can be difficult. But as we've seen from Yellow Card, Reinke has said many times, they were so done. They dissolved their LLC. They were completely finished. And then they ended up coming back. So, I mean, this type of music, and while they're not like the band that would need to resurge, right? They started in 2013. Okay. So that's only 13 years ago. But if they've been inactive since 2020 and, they were selling shows and people were going to see them, I would say give it some time and hopefully they'll be back. These things sort themselves out as folks get older and wiser.
Are we sure that, so we don't know whether or not it was infighting or anything like that, or?
Well, the Reddits say that the rhythm guitarist, and who's one of the vocalists as well, he had posted some sort of controversial stuff on social media. And this is during the pandemic when there was a lot of, intense feelings about certain subjects. And so he had posted something, and his fellow band members did not feel good about that and tried to kick him out. And he said, "You can't kick me out. I'm a founder and owner of the band." And then it just kind of stopped. Everything just kind of stopped from there.
He seemed like the strong guy too. I was watching some of their videos, and if you kind of look at, judge them by the way they look, he seemed kind of like the jock of the group. So he's like, you're not gonna kick me out. I am Seaway. Chaz Michael Michaels is figure skating.
Interesting.
All right. Maybe it's time to get into this album. So it's called Vacation. By the way, guys, I know, Lad, you do both. Chris 183 is Spotify. Chris G, where do you listen to music?
Amazon Music primarily.
Wow. Okay. We don't hear that one too often. Did any of you guys, while listening to this, whether it was on a computer, a phone, or in your car through CarPlay, because this is where it stood out to me, notice how awesome the album cover looks?
Yeah. Yeah.
It does not look like a CD at all. There's no bevels, there's no edges. It's straight. And I said to myself, I'm like, is this something special that they did? Is this just what the image looked like? But it looks so cool on my Apple CarPlay that I felt the need to call that out.
Well, it looks like a piece of luggage, right? Like a suitcase.
It's a suitcase. It's got some stickers on it, but I don't know. Just usually you can tell, like, even though it's just like on there in the square or whatever, that it's an album cover. This just looks like it's its own like thing floating there. So pay attention to that if you go and watch it. And
there's some call outs too. Did you notice this on the picture? There's call outs to songs on the album too. I don't know if they're all call outs. I'm not sure there's anything about Amsterdam. But I Love Your Apartment is on the front.
And there's one that says London, I believe. There's a couple of things.
There are. So neat.
I thought it was really, really cool. So this album came out, it was September 15th, 2017. It came out on Pure Noise Records, as I think 3 of their 4 records did. It was produced by Mike Green, Kyle Black, Will McCoy. I don't know anything about those producers in general. Lad, Chris, do you guys have any idea who they are? No?
Nope.
No.
And like a lot of albums in 2017, there's not a whole lot of like stats or anything like that, right? We're in the streaming era, so there's not a whole lot of sales numbers or anything like that. It didn't chart for anything that I could anything that I could find. But yeah, that's about it. And it's a suitcase with stickers on it on the album cover. I think, Chris, you should get this on vinyl. I bet you it looks really cool.
I was thinking about that before, because I think about that every time now, and I don't know. I guess it really depended on if I like the album. We can't talk about that yet.
It's a new segment on this show. Will Chris buy it on vinyl? But that's saved for way at the end.
Listen, some of these vinyls are not cheap. Like stuff that's not readily available, is pricey.
You might have to pay Canadian import fees too, and I don't know what the tariffs are these days. I mean, that could be an investment.
I could just go to Canada and get it.
You could.
I don't know if that's the solution.
I don't think that would be less expensive than the fees, but you can do you.
Yeah, I could, but we'll find out. We'll definitely find out. But you guys ready to just dive in? First song, Apartment.
Sure.
All right.
Let's do it.
Well, I guess I'll kick it off because I don't have a lot to say, but that's okay. We got a big panel today, so if I don't have a lot to say, I'm not going to say it. But I think it was, overall, if I want to pull out a good thing on this song is that it had a very strong and powerful chorus. That's something that definitely hit me first and foremost. Definitely, very bass heavy in the verse too. The bass was very pronounced, and I like that. I thought it was a good sound for the most part, but something was missing for me in this first song. I don't know whether it was just the melody didn't connect or just something about the composition of the song. It was
an empty apartment for you.
It just didn't feel like, I don't know. It didn't feel like it was, it didn't flow. I don't know. It just seemed choppy, kind of, it was just weird to me. So overall, again, I didn't think it was a super strong opener, and I wasn't as into it maybe as I thought I was going to be. So that's where I was on Apartment. So Steve, what did you think?
Strong disagree. This has been my sing-along song of the entire week. And the one I do understand. So when you say choppy, there are some like quick changes and the tempo shifts, these starts and stops. And I'm usually like not sometimes when like the lyrical melody doesn't 100% match up with the musical delivery, that can bug me, but it does not here. I mean, the anthemic chorus that I think everybody can relate to. This is a beautiful little track here. All I want to do is do nothing with you in your apartment on vacation forever. I think it's a great table setter for the album. It establishes a theme. We're saying the album title titular, but we're not calling it that. The song is called Apartment. Very cool, like background guitar sound. Maybe one of you guitar dudes will talk about this, but this was my sing-along song of the week. Not even close. Chris, why don't we let you chime in?
Sure. Yeah. So Steve, I'm definitely more along your lines. To me, this is everything you want to see in an opener for an album. I love that intro riff right off the bat. I think we see something that, in my opinion, we notice throughout the album that's different than the other two, or at least sort of escalating between the other two. And that's just a much more clean and polished production sound. You've got that classic sort of, pop punk tone in the guitar is kind of a mid gain. Sometimes it gets high. I love the palm muted verses that lead up to that kind of wide open power chord, chorus, and, the drums, big crash accents, big loud drums. So, to me, I think this is a great intro track.
That leaves you, PunkishDad.
Leaves me. I'm going to agree with actually all of you in a way. So I see what Chris 183 is saying about it being a little choppy, because there are a couple of parts where the distinct parts of the song kind of completely drop out and shift into something different. So I see what you're saying about by it being a little choppy, but I can't deny the hook of the riff, the opening guitar riff. Chris G, you pointed out that there's a pattern that we see here. And it starts with a clean guitar riff that goes into a distorted, heavy, crunchy guitar riff, which I love to hear both of those things, honestly. So this is a good example of that. You see it as a pattern, and I feel like the drumming is really strong on this album too. The musicianship in general is really quite solid.
I think it's definitely more polished. Again, remembering back to Hoser, which I wouldn't tell you that I remember every song, but I'm sure if I put it on right now, we'd both recall it, Chris. But I think this one is definitely more polished than what I remember. Hoser kind of sounded like it was, their first go around kind of doing this, and then this is their third go around doing this. So they've tightened it up. So PunkishDad, why don't you're maybe the most neurotic? So I don't know. I just made that up, but I'll let you go with number 2 to start.
Well, yeah, I like this one. So I wrote down just a couple of notes. There's the na-na-nas come in here, very pop punk-esque. And then the line, mom's neurotic son. Mom's neurotic son. Something about just the way that he phrases that is funny to me. And I'm my mother's only son, so I guess I'm mom's neurotic son as well. But this one I think is really catchy and has a great little guitar lick. And it keeps the energy going for track 2.
Chris G.
Sure. Yeah. So I think, looking at the title, it's a great title to the track lyrically and musically. I'm not somebody that typically looks too hard at the lyrics of a song. It's the sound of it that's really pulling me in or pushing me away. But it gave me the feeling of trying to go to sleep anxious and just kind of stirring and then drifting off into overthinking thoughts.
Oh my God, that's going to happen to me tonight now. Now that you said
it could. It very well could, Steve. But, kind of having the perception that everyone is looking at you to be great and the surmounting fear of what they're going to think when it doesn't happen or if it doesn't happen. That's kind of the message that I pulled out of the lyrics there. But looking at the guitars, that's what really pulled me into this song, as it typically does. Very sporadic. They use staccato a lot, which is kind of that really detached, sporadic, picking style. The pre-chorus power chords were really urgent and kind of disheveled, I guess I would call it. And the bass guitar was very locked into the drums on this one. So all of those elements are what grabbed me in a good pop punk song.
Sure, you write that down, Steve.
I love when we have musician people to explain to us what we are listening to. I do appreciate it. And by the way, this song, you mentioned Amsterdam. This song mentions Amsterdam.
Yep. I think Winnipeg and Amsterdam in this one. Winnipeg to Amsterdam, that might have been the line.
Yeah, well, there's the Amsterdam sticker on I'm pointing, like you guys can see what I'm pointing at, but on the front of the cover.
Hey, we know Winnipeg too. We just talked about it.
We do. Canadian.
All right. Go ahead, Steve. What did you think about Neurotic?
Neurotic. I mean, listen, you got muted. Na 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 na. I mean, I can't go wrong with that. Another cool guitar riff in this one, similar to Apartment. This one to me had it had like this dancey vibe to it. I really enjoyed it, and I feel like the chorus was strong. It was loud. It was fun. The second time along, they do kind of this double chorus. Then they do the soft chorus. It was really all about the chorus. I mean, that's really what I get drawn into. When I look at it as a song, like on paper, super simple for me, but it was really fun. I think it was a strong follow-up to Apartment.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and disagree with a little bit of all that. I thought
you hate
this
na-na-nas, don't you?
I do not like na-na-nas. I don't. I've never really grown to like na-na-nas. I'm sorry, but look, I thought this was definitely, someone said something about drifting away and not paying attention. I definitely drifted away during this song. I thought it was just, it's very boppy in a lot of ways, in all the ways actually. And I thought it maybe, this song felt like it was just a little bit too teen Disney movie for me. So that's what it felt like to me. Like if I would have turned on the
Zac
movie,
Efron was singing it.
like it definitely could have been on a Zac Efron movie.
I really like Zac Efron.
One of the ones but like a teen Zac Efron. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like a High School Musical 7.
Yeah, but not High School Musical, like a one-off movie about skateboarding or rollerblading.
That would be really cool. Like that. I would like to show my kid that.
This would fit right in during a montage or something. I just can't get into the sound of this. The sound that this song's bringing, I'm not buying it. I just can't buy it. I don't like it. I think it's another dud.
Ooh, boy. All right. Mm-hmm. Do you want to go into London? You want me to?
I can. We'll just swing right back. It's like a snake draft. But okay, this next one, London. You got the sticker on the front. It's all about that. I had high hopes. And I'll tell you what, guys, this song is more like it. This is more like it. This is starting to really kind of live up to the expectation that I had going into this of, hey, I don't remember Seaway, but I think I like them. This is very strong in terms of the guitar riffs. I think it's, the melody is simplistic in a lot of ways, but it has some creativity baked into it. I thought the chorus was, again, very strong. I said that on track one. Of course, it wasn't enough for me, but on this one, it definitely was. And you mix that with a great guitar sound, a little bit harder too, in a lot of ways, really pulled me in. That breakdown post chorus I thought was fantastic, and it just added to the overall enjoyability. And I'm always a sucker for soft to loud, and this song has it. So you got some muted to more energized, as they build. So definitely lots to like here, and I was all in on London.
Yeah.
What did you guys think?
I've come to a conclusion after listening to this song, and that's if you don't want to go to London, you should write a fucking song about it, and it will be awesome. Because Third Eye Blind has a song all about not wanting to go to London, and that song is awesome.
That's
and
right.
This song is about not wanting to move to London, and it's awesome. If whatever the comment was earlier about this album and this band fitting perfectly into like the 2010s vibe, this is it, right? Because it starts off, it's kind of got that synthetic electronic beat. It's got this real like chill, vibe to it in the verses, and then it's real big in the chorus, and you got these in the background. No, oh, I could never move. And I just think it's funny because he's not saying like Third Eye Blind, I can't move to London because you're not there, right? I guess that's probably the chorus if I'm thinking about it outside my head here. He's not saying like I can't move to London because I don't like London. He's not saying I can't move to London because you're not there or this is not there. He's just saying I can't move to London because I am fucking broke. London is way more expensive than Ontario, Canada, and I can't move there because I'm too broke and I'm not fun. I don't know that you have to be fun to move to London, but I appreciated that. And again, all these things, the little electronic beat, awesome chorus, the OOOs, no OOs, whatever you call them. Number 3, cleanup track here. Fantastic. Lad, I'll throw it to you.
It's my turn. Okay. Yep. I echo a lot of what you guys said, if not all of it. The one thing I want to point out about the song that I don't think anybody's mentioned yet is the bridge. And it kind of goes into like a little bit of a hushed tone in singing, and the drums have this great build up into a great kind of drumming part to end it. And then the last chorus, it goes from the bridge into the last chorus, and it just sounds huge because the drums go to halftime and he is just pounding those things and just the crash and the cymbals. So next time you have a chance to listen to it, listen to the drums in that bridge. They totally make that part of the song. But overall, you see the pattern again. Clean intro to start with, catchy guitar part. I think they're on a good streak here.
Chris, that leaves you.
Sure. So I think in terms of kind of the elements that you guys talked about, with the slower kind of clean intro, for me, there's a very fine line as to if it's going to be a skip track or one that I'm going to listen to. The intro is really catchy, and typically that slow start to the song is not what I'm looking for in a pop punk song. But I think they kind of redeem themselves in that chorus. And I think notably we get that Ryan Locke kind of raspy yell that he's kind of known for in Seaway. That comes out pretty strong in this one, and I really like that. So, I think the chorus and the bridge, as you were alluding to, brought it home for me as a yes.
So you don't like the songs that build. You need the payoff right in the front. Get me from the start.
Yep. This may be controversial, but I'm a guy that has always skipped over Adam's song and Stay Together for the Kids and Blink, and I think it's because it's not enough for me right off the bat.
Oh, so, I'm sorry, guys. We just lost Chris. He fell off the Zoom call.
I realize that may have been controversial, but it's true.
That's okay. All opinions are welcome here on High School Never Ends.
Right. I'll second that.
Okay.
You skip over Adam's song and Stay Together for the Kids?
No, I'll second all opinions are welcome.
Oh, that part. Thank you.
Yeah. I've always been very, very
accepting.
Nice about that. It's accepting. I can't think of it. Hospitable is the word I was looking for, but And I was thinking about hospitable. I do want to add one more thing to this before we move on. So while London rent for a 1-bedroom apartment can exceed 4,000 CAD, I don't know what that means. We'll just say monies.
Well, CAD is Canadian dollars.
Okay, well, I didn't know. How am I supposed to know?
You're searching in Canadian dollars?
Easy. Similar, more spacious housing is typically cheaper in Ontario. However, groceries, taxes, and utilities are often higher in Ontario, while London offers lower costs for transportation.
Oh, bro, this is not even a thing, though, because there's free healthcare in Canada, which means all the other stuff is a little bit more expensive, but it's totally worth it. You get cancer in Canada, you get your medical bills paid for completely.
London has a better public transit options, but costs can be high, whereas car ownership and petrol are generally more expensive in Canada.
Petrol. He's reading this off the Ontario Times right now.
I think that kind of blows up the whole argument, though, doesn't it? Now,
I don't know. I feel pretty solid in my argument.
Well, you got to look at the facts. Sometimes the facts speak louder than opinions.
He can't go there, man. He's too broke, and he's no fun.
All right. Well, how does that compare to Lula on the beach? There's no segue for this, so I don't know who. How about you? Okay, PunkishDad, you start with this one off. What about Lula?
Yeah, there's not to sidebar too much, but there's an acoustic version of this too that they released not too much later, and that was really cool too. And it worked. So this to me seems like it would have single potential. I don't recall actually if they released singles from this or if so what they were, but to me it seems like it could potentially have a single vibes.
Let me chime in here. According to the wikis, there were 4 singles. It was Apartment first, Something Wonderful, then this one, then London. Sorry.
Okay, that all makes sense. That tracks with me. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say. It's a clean intro and it builds later. But I enjoyed it. It's not a skip for me.
Chris, how about you? Chris G.
Yep, sure. So I think, the vacation theme is obviously very strong in this one. Similarly to London, the chorus and kind of the crunch that shows up later in the song sort of saved this one from being a skip for me. It's sort of, very reminiscent of a track that could have been laying over a beach montage with a 70s filter over it. So, I could appreciate the nostalgia in that one. But, I didn't love it by any means, but I guess I didn't hate it either.
Steve.
I think this is kind of like one of those, again, I'm not trying to compare other albums. We've talked about this month. But, when we talked about Unwritten Law and we said they kind of have like 1 or 2 like kind of chill songs per album, that's like what I kind of get from this one. And I do appreciate that it's falling into the theme, right? So obviously the first song, Vacation, London is about going somewhere else or not wanting to go there. Lula on the beach, you get that cool beachy vacation vibe out of this one. The guitar in this one kind of complements the lyrics like it's its own thing. The whole, I'm with Lula on the beach over and over as the chorus, it's fine. I wouldn't skip this one. I just wanted to ask you guys, who do you think Lula is? Chris 183?
Is that even a name that anybody ever has? Like, how many Lulas do you know?
I'm just asking. Do you think that's his wife, his girlfriend, his mom, cousin? Who's Lula?
I think it might be some kind of like fish, something, maybe like a dolphin or something.
Lula on the beach. Okay. PunkishDad, Chris, you guys have any like thoughts on why would they say Lula on the beach?
I'm gonna guess it's a dog. Took his dog to the beach.
Dog is a good call.
Yeah, that's not a bad guess. Does anybody have the lyrics pulled up?
I do.
For some reason, I feel like he says a different name at some point in the song. Is that?
I do not see anything other than the word Lula.
Okay.
But I will say they have a video for this song. And the whole time I was thinking Lula on the beach. He talks about the polka dot bikini. She wore but the video is them on the beach with fucking dogs. I mean, so
maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Nice catch.
I saw the video years ago.
Okay, so
maybe it's
you knew it deep down
there.
Well, no, it says head out the window. Not surprising. That's what a dog.
Oh, there
does.
You go. I missed that one.
Okay,
that's perfect. So, anyways, he's writing about his dog on the beach and hanging out with her, I guess, Lula, female dog. But I thought this one was very chill, and I enjoyed it. I don't think it's like a shining star in this record or anything like that, but it's not one that I'm gonna skip. And when you watch the video, everybody listening, and you guys, if you haven't seen it, and you'll just kind of like chuckle along, and it's fun. These guys, I get that they have a good sense of humor, and they can they're having fun with what they're doing up until they blew up in 2020. But at least at this point in time, Lula on the Beach, they were having fun.
Yeah, sure. They were having fun. I could hear him like in a conversation telling one of his, maybe it's a lead singer, somebody in the band telling one of the other guys, yeah, I'm with Lula on the beach again. This guy's with Lula. He's with his dog all the time on the beach. Like, that's great, right? You can turn that into a song. I really like this one, though. It has actually, you hear a backing track again on this one, similar to what you talked about in London. I think it works really well here. It adds, another layer to the sounds that really adds to the overall, I guess, just enjoyability of the melody. I wrote a note about something that draws me in. I think it's the subdued feeling until it gets loud. So, for the longest part of the song, like it's kind of subdued, but then all of a sudden it just gets super loud, and I love that. And I think that it's that contrast, it's the contrasting components of the song that really draw me in. So I always like that, though. I always like the up and down songs, and this is definitely one of them. So I thought this was a great one.
The guitars do get kind of heavy in part of it. When it transitions into the chorus, it kind of gets heavy, which is cool. It's a nice contrast.
Yep. All right. While we're doing this back and forth here, this subdued and then loud, I'll be loud on this next one. Something Wonderful. First of all, when you reference Friends, Ross and Rachel, it is an immediate disqualification. So this song is disqualified. No. Friends is down the drain. Sorry, guys. It's not funny. It's not for anybody. Don't watch it. I'm sorry.
Pivot.
I do. Look, I like the lead singer. I think somebody mentioned it. The way that he shouts, his gravelly sounding, loudness of his voice definitely is a high point in this song. But I just wasn't as into the acoustic or the guitar melody in this one. I just didn't think it hit. It was just not right. It didn't sound great. It's not offensive in any way. It's just kind of whatever. It's just whatever. And then I think, it just kind of sits
I know what's
there.
going
So
on here.
Middle of the road. Nobody would play this on a date. This one's just blah. I don't care about the subject matter. And the heck with, what he's talking about.
I know what's going on here.
I know what you're going to say.
What am I going to say?
I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to take your thunder away. Go ahead.
Chris immediately disqualified this, not because of Ross and Rachel, but because there's clapping. Chris hates clapping.
I didn't even hear the clapping. I didn't even hear it.
At the very beginning, they're clapping along. It comes in a couple of times.
Tuned it out.
That's why you hate it. Subliminally.
Song just wasn't for me.
Well, this song has significantly more streams than any other song on this record. Like on Spotify, this is at like 13 million. And I think the next highest one was like 2 million, maybe. Like it is significantly higher. I see it. You know what I ask myself when I listen to this song? Why is fucking everybody so smelly? There's multiple lyrics. I like how it's been days now since you washed that yellow t-shirt. It kind of smells now, but I'm down. Then later on he goes, we're on our own now. We kind of smell now, but I'm down. Like, why is everybody that we're talking about so stinky? I don't get it, but this is a cute song. I mean, we're weird and painful like Ross and Rachel. They say that a few times. Then second to last time, they change it to we're weird and messy like Zach and Kelly. Come on, dude. We went from Friends to Saved by the Bell and this like clappy goodness and this great chorus. This is great. This is good.
You love this lovey-dovey stuff. Though.
This is
That's
something
like your thing.
It's something wonderful. Yeah, this is my thing. I love to love.
It is the month. It is the month of love.
Yeah, it's Lover's Month, Chris.
It's almost over.
is.
Forget that.
Actually, this comes out on like the third to last day of the month, so we're moving forward.
So I'm right.
Still counts. It's February. Still counts.
All right, so Chris thinks it's disqualified. I think it's fantastic. This leaves it to the Midwestern boys, Lad and Chris. Whoever wants to go first.
I'll take it. So most of the things I had written down have been taken already, but I love the Ross and Rachel reference, especially Chris 183. I thought you might like that it said it's weird and painful. We are weird and painful like Ross and Rachel. So even if you don't like Ross and Rachel, they're kind of saying, yeah, they're weird and painful. Either way, that's okay. They do add gang vocals make an appearance here. They're throughout the album, but very prominent on this one. And that opening guitar lick is just super catchy. Every time ironically, I've never sat down to try to play any of these songs. I think I'm going to challenge myself to do that going
You think
forward.
you can do that by Thursday?
Maybe.
Okay. We should have a guitar off. Let's see, Lad and Chris. Let's see who can really rail this.
Well, we'll see how it goes. I think it's a little more intricate than some of the other bands I listen to and try to play along to. But either way, I think I see why it gets streamed a lot because of the nostalgia, the mentions there of elements of our childhood and our days of youth, and I think it's fun.
Yeah,
Chris,
yeah,
to you.
Yep, Steve. I'll start off by saying I'm really glad you brought up the smelling lyrics. The last few days I've been listening to this and I've been wondering if that's going to come up on here. I thought that made me chuckle a few times, but yeah, it's not surprising to me at all that this one is one of the selected singles. I love the tempo and the intro riff to this song. It follows sort of the poppy nature of the album, but to me still really contains the roots of a good pop punk song. And Chris, I like that you brought up the raspy yell again from Ryan. That is one of my favorite parts about Seaway. That's a really unique, not scream, but yell, we'll call it, or shout. And that's showing up a lot in this one. So yeah, this is a good track. I like this one.
All right. Snake draft it and keep it going. Curse me out. Chris, it's all you. Sure.
So for Curse Me Out, I didn't know what to do with this one initially. It's got a very alternative feeling to me that gave me almost like a Third Eye Blind or like a Matchbox 20 feeling, which I can get into. Don't get me wrong on that, but it's not what I'm looking for if I'm listening to pop punk. So I didn't inherently dislike the song, but I feel like it was not Seaway to me at all. And I think that there's a couple of tracks that made me feel this way, but they kept the lyrics in line with the album content and the theme, kind of that recurring message of relationship anxiety, chaos. So I think they followed their own pattern, but I think the sound to me was just very different.
Lad, it's 3 a.m. and you might be lonely. What did you think?
I might be. So I'm going to comment similar on a couple of songs that to me feel like 90s alternative tunes. So it's interesting that Chris G picked up on that too. This is one of those. There's another one coming up soon. But I think it's overall as a catchy vocal melody. I don't skip it. There's one line in here that stood out to me that says, "Why the hell am I in Indiana?" Which really stood out to me because I've said those words out loud. I got stuck in Indiana in very unfortunate circumstances and ended up being there a lot longer than I had planned to be. And I said those words out loud and then later heard this song again and realized, oh, maybe that was kind of planted in my brain. And I said those words out loud because I had heard them before. Anyway, no offense to anybody in Indiana. I'm sure it has lovely parts, but I was just there under unfortunate circumstances at the time. So overall, pretty good song. It's not a skip for me.
I don't think I've ever stepped foot in Indiana. Like, when people do on the Facebook, like put all the states you've been in or whatever. I don't think I've ever been to Indiana.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think so.
I have.
You have. You're a traveler.
Traveling Chris.
Yeah. Chris likes to curse me out sometimes.
Easy.
We talk about
what do you think?
Mark
Actually, no,
Tom.
I don't curse you out. If anybody, you have the curse count on this show.
Well,
not me.
Yeah, that's true. I do. I like to curse. I'm from New York, but I didn't have like a ton to say about this one. I felt like it was delivered with a little bit less energy, like in the voice, but that less energy, did kind of somewhat fit the theme of the song. I felt like it had a good, guitar solo. It starts out with the chorus. The chorus wasn't like super strong to me. There is some other song that definitely reeked 90s alternative to me that we'll get to at some point. But Chris, the fact that you pointed that out on this one, I could see that too. I don't know that I specifically hear Rob Thomas, but I could hear this as like, trying to be one of those 90s alt singles or something like that. Not a standout. And I will actually pause here and say there is a chance that this album is really good, but is super top heavy. Pause. We'll discuss later. It's possible.
I'm surprised you didn't go where I thought you were going to go.
What'd you think?
90s alternative.
Tell me. No. I'm not bringing that up this episode.
Yeah, no.
You're just egging me on to do it.
I thought you were... it kind of sounds like Allison Road a little bit, I think,
I'll go there. What did it sound like? Gin Blossoms to you?
Gin Blossoms.
I didn't say it.
No, I'm allowed one, right? I'm allowed a Gin Blossoms.
You're allowed as many as you want. It's your month.
That's a good band, dude. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
You could have picked a Gin Blossoms album.
It's a great band. I could have. Maybe I should have.
Yeah.
Maybe you still can. I love this. We're on different worlds here, ladies and gentlemen, me and the rest of these guys. I love this song. I thought it was fantastic.
Wow.
This one gets 2 stars and a vinyl record. The vinyl record's a little black circle.
Do you make the little circles inside of it?
No, it's just the star and then the black circle. But this is a melody that I can get into. This is a bouncy melody that I can really get into. I wrote down this as a archipelago chorus. How do you say it? When the notes go up and they go back down.
Arpeggiated?
Yeah, arpeggiated.
Archipelago is a landmass that has water on 3 sides. Boom, science.
It doesn't really matter, right? It's all music. We all see it differently.
Please go to like a band class and stand up there and tell them that this is an archipelago chorus.
Steve, music is an art, and some of us see it differently. So you have to respect that.
Listen, an archipelago is also kind of art. It's nature's art.
But isn't it cool that something so simple can be so effective in a song? You think about the up and down motion of the notes and how I just can connect to that instantaneously. So I love that, right? Even if it's not archipelago and it's something different, I think that whatever it is sounds great. I love the post-chorus breakdown. If it's even called a breakdown there, just post-chorus. It's after the second one, I believe. A really good, even though it's short, the guitar solo is on point. The just aggressive drums, love that. It has a dropout, all the components of a great song that Chris 183 would love. I think that something about the melody here, again, I can't really necessarily put it into words. Can't always put that into words, but there's something about the melody that they produce here that just makes the song. So I don't know, certain songs just connect with you. This one connected with me. And I don't think a girl has ever cursed me out. I don't remember ever being cursed out by anybody.
Well, this guy deserved it. He says so himself.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, you're going to be mad at me.
Me?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because you described, when you said an archipelago, you described a peninsula, but archipelago is a collection of islands.
Oh, shit.
Like Indonesia or Hawaii.
If there's anybody who I would appreciate correcting me, it is you. I
had to out nerd you just once.
He had such good grammar in his text messages to me with his quotation marks and parenthesis. And I said, I really appreciate what you did there. So thank you. I appreciate that. I was in the vicinity of water and islands, but
water and landmass.
I need the people out there need to know what an archipelago
you guys
is.
Just think you're so smart, huh? You guys think you're so smart. There's different dialects, different ways of saying something. Where I'm from, in my side of Pennsylvania, you guys are kind of making fun of the way that I talk by saying, what I meant.
Listen, I don't want Yins to get mad at anybody. Let's just, keep it chill. It's okay.
All right. So I will keep it chill. I'll go on to the next song here, Day Player. So Day Player. Wow. Okay. So this to me was a middle of the road track, ladies and gentlemen. I thought this one had really nothing to it. It was just another song on this album.
Wouldn't that be less than middle of the road?
Just the middle of the road.
Oh.
Just another song, right? If you're in the middle of the road, then there's nothing really descript there. You're just in the middle. It's
Neither
not like
good
on the
nor
edge.
bad.
There's nothing there. I gotta hook onto the melody. I'm sorry. Like I always say that, like there's gotta be something to hook me in. And this song feels stripped down to just an average track. So I guess maybe it's the I'll see you. It just isn't catchy. The I'll see you part. Like I just thought that was blah. So I try to pull some stuff out of here that maybe I thought would be interesting. I listened to it obviously many, many times to see if maybe my opinion would change. But unfortunately, there was no hook that brought me back to this one.
So I'm going to make an assumption that when we talked about some other tracks being 90s alternative sounding, that maybe you guys were talking about this one. Yeah, I see some head nods.
I was.
Absolutely.
Well,
yeah.
Me too. But we have to go around the horn and say, what did you compare this one to 90s alternative?
I had a mix of like Bare Naked Ladies or like Eagle Eye Cherry or Marcy Playground. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but probably Bare Naked Ladies is the closest thing that came to mind.
Chris, did you have one?
So I didn't have one written down for this song. Just Curse Me Out, but I would still probably say like a Matchbox 20.
I thought Len. I was like, this is like Steal My Sunshine. This is goodbye. Like, I don't know. For some reason, that's where obviously we're all kind of on the same page. I didn't dislike this song. I actually liked the like kind of vocal delivery that was a little fast and kind of rappy, but that chorus is maybe it's just trying a little too hard, and you know, to be poppy and be mass appealing. I also do. I will say I appreciate hey, she's going out to Hollywood to make it big type song. Like, all right, like I could get a song about this, but I think Chris is right. It's the middle of the road, pretty much. What'd you guys think?
Is it my turn?
Sure.
So I'm going to lean all the way into this one. I love this song. It's, I love 90s alternative. It's definitely, in addition to pop punk, my jam. But there's so many things I like about this one. There's like a false drum intro that just kind of hooks you, like, wait, where are they going with it? And then they just kind of, the tempo just goes from there and just kind of stays steady. I love the guitar strums. Like he's strumming the whole time, even if he's not playing a chord, he's still striking the strings. There's a great little guitar lick during the chorus and a little bit of a solo in there. Just a short melodic singable solo. I think the Tarantino reference is funny. And yeah, I mean, I'm not going to spoil anything, but this one is a favorite of the Punkish Dad.
Chris, did you like it on that alternative side or not so much?
So I didn't love this one. I'll go opposite to Punkish Dad. You know, I can also appreciate kind of that 90s alt feel. I definitely get into that stuff, but you know, when I'm listening to Seaway, I want to hear Seaway, and it just, you know, there's a marked direction shift here in my mind between Curse Me Out and this one that just feels very different than Seaway to me. So, you know, I can certainly appreciate the lyrical subject matter kind of staying on point. But that tonal shift was not for me.
All right, well let's move on to Misery and You. Punkish Dad, I don't think you've kicked us off for a bit. Why don't we put you on the spot here?
Yeah, this one, interesting contrast because it goes from one of the poppiest songs, probably maybe the poppiest song on the album, into what's a more darker song. And it's, for me, this is the only potential skip on the album. It's not bad. I don't usually skip it, but it just kind of has a darker tone to it, and it doesn't kind of fall into top tier for me for whatever reason. It's fine. Don't usually skip it, but not a highlight for me.
Yeah, the first couple seconds of this one sound like Face Down to me. And it's just the way that the drums come in. I was like, oh, I feel like I'm listening to Face Down with this drum intro. And you're totally right. It seems totally darker than the others. It doesn't really fit the album theme, but it kind of hits pretty hard. And I don't find the chorus to be catchy, but I do find it to be powerful. So I don't know that it's a favorite, but I don't know if I would skip it. Chris 180 Seaway.
Oh, I get to go. Okay. This one got a double star. I was really into this one. I instantly love this one. I thought this one was another great track. Maybe because it was that darker sound to it. I thought this gave me if Incubus went pop punk, like I feel like that would be this one.
Yeah.
So it gave me that feel, and I really like that because I really love the Incubus sound for sure. So I love how the melody just drops and then erupts with the "if I called right now" line. Like that's my favorite. That's where I think if I were going to pick one good thing out of the song, like one good thing to call out, that would be it. Not that there's not many of them, but that was one that definitely stuck out. It's so great. And there is later in the song, they do that same lyric. If I called out, if I called right now, they put a little bit even more oomph on it. It's later in the song, but I think that makes it even better. So there's so many good things here. It's just a great track front to back. The melody's on point. Love that different sound that they bring here, and obviously mix it in with everything else I said. And this one definitely gets a couple stars. So was into this one, and so I'll kind of go to the next one here. Did somebody not get to talk about this one? Chris, did you say your piece about this one or no?
No, not on this one yet.
Go for it. Yeah, go for it.
I just had a little bit on this one. So I wrote down, my first note is the lyric, "I'll dedicate the time now to putting out the fire in your eyes." So this one, definitely that darker shift that Lad alluded to. We're seeing that lyrical dark shift, kind of the feeling of the song is changing a little bit. They've got kind of that self-loathing, anxious approach in a lot of the songs. And this one is actually kind of putting the blame on whoever Ryan is speaking to in the lyrics. But, so I think that was a little bit of a shift, but, we get the distortion back, we get, the big drums back, the bass is back, more aggressive sound. So this one is not a top 3 contender for me, but closer to what I'm looking for than the last two were. So.
Yeah, I hear that. Then you want to go ahead and transition into the next song?
Sure. Yeah. "Scatter My Ashes Along the Coast or Don't." So this is the one that featured Caleb Shomo. The sound that really grabs my attention in pop punk is back full force with this one. I love this song. I made a note that this one reminds me of a Sum 41 sound, kind of through and through. But I love, kind of the conglomerate of all the elements in this one. Very, very simple but impactful chord progression. I love the octaves in the chorus with the little accent notes at the end. Very simple but very impactful in terms of what pop punk should be, in my opinion. Big drums, big power chords. It's the recipe for success for me. So.
Yeah, and for all of you guys that don't know, Caleb Shomo, I took a note on this one. So I think he's in a couple different bands. The one that I'll call out is Attack Attack. And the reason I'll call that out, I know he's in a more recent band, but we covered it on this show on one of our Pop Goes Punk or Punk Goes Pop, one of the two. I forget which one it is. I don't remember what volume it is, but he did a cover of Katy Perry, "I Kissed a Girl." So, or they did, I should say. So, and I want to say they did more than that, but I can't remember and couldn't see it in my research. But that's definitely where I remember them from. But I know people have talked about that band for sure. He's in another band though, right? A more recent one.
Yeah,
Beartooth.
Beartooth. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Beartooth. I'm not familiar with Beartooth.
I think where you might know them is, remember that Neck Deep collab that you love watching on YouTube? I think that he comes on stage during that.
Does he?
I feel like I remember seeing Beartooth and I didn't know who it was. But I think so.
Caleb Shomo, like that guy? I'm going to go take a look at it again.
Check it out.
Okay, Steve, what did you think about this one?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Chris. This like brings us back to the vibe of the album as it was before a couple of the other songs. I like there's kind of a screamy delivery here. The chorus is very like boppy. Like I could see this one being like when they're playing live, them being like, everybody fucking jump up and down. Dun, 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 dun. Like I just feel like it's like a jump up and down thing. There's a bridge where they kind of like slow down the guitar. I felt like it didn't fit into the rest of the song, but I feel like it was fine. Overall, I think this one kind of jumped me back in after like one or two that I wasn't as interested in.
Okay, PunkishDad.
Yeah, I like this one. It's a couple of things call outs in the lyrics. The scatter my ashes along the coast or don't, I don't even care. Just as, life happens and we've gotten older, my wife and I have had several conversations about, do we want to be buried? Do we want to be cremated? If so, would you want your ashes scattered? And where would you want them scattered? So,
and a Blink-182 concert with cockfetti.
Yeah, that'd be great. Just, spread my ashes all over everybody. They'd love it. But, yeah, and then there's another line in there that says, this is where I belong. I'll see you in hell or something. So I'm not sure if they both are relating to each other there. But overall, I think it's a fun song. And I never got down on the, like, obviously I was the outlier with liking some of the poppier stuff. But I didn't feel like the album needed a redirection for me. I feel like it's just another tune from a band that I like.
Chris, you know what? When I read the title of this, it makes me.
I know what you're gonna say. Go ahead, say it.
No, you say it. It makes me think of.
I want to hear you say it first. I want to see if we're on the same page.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia when they go to Ireland and they just scatter the ashes.
Oh no, it's not. That's not the direction I was gonna go, but that's spot on too.
Okay.
So
what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say it reminds me of like a Hot Mulligan title.
Oh, okay.
It's not a Hot Mulligan title because they actually say this in the song, don't they?
They do mention it, yes.
Yeah. They happen to say the title of the song in most of their songs, don't they?
I believe so, yeah.
If not all of them. So they're one of those titular groups.
Not
like
Day Player.
Not Day Player.
Or Neurotic.
But now I'm going to think about that Always Sunny episode for sure. Thanks for playing. I got to go watch that after this. But
that's one of those lost seasons. It was like around COVID time and not many people paid too much attention to it, but it was still it was very funny.
It's great. I got nothing really much more to add except for I enjoyed this one too. I'm with you guys through and throughout on this one. I thought that honestly, when he says scatter my ashes along the coast or don't, I think that might be the best part of the song, in my opinion, like just the way that that's delivered. But Caleb, I don't really know where he comes in. You guys tell me, like, is it super noticeable where he comes in and sings? Because I can't hear it.
I don't know his voice well enough to be able to comment on that. I'm not sure.
Anybody know?
I'm pretty sure he is where kind of the music all cuts out, the kind of the bridge part there where he does.
So that's kind of the scatter the ashes along the coast.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. I think so too. I think he says that line.
Yeah,
wow.
I'm pretty sure that's Caleb.
That's it. That's what I like. But good track. I would listen to this one again for sure. And I would listen to the next one again for sure. I had a star on this one and I scratched it out.
Change your mind?
I changed my mind. I do like the sentiment here that, you'll forget about me like a magazine you throw in the backseat of your car. And, even though that's a dated reference in 2026, because, magazines aren't as prevalent anymore. I actually do have a magazine that I still get. I still get Consumer Reports, which is a very sensible
Penthouse?
Magazine. I don't get Penthouse. Is that even a magazine still?
I don't know.
Couldn't tell you. Don't know.
I just wanted to say something risque. Throw you off.
I said Consumer Reports and you went Penthouse.
Yeah, it's quite the opposite. One of us is telling the truth.
I do have all my Maxim magazines saved. I have them all.
Really?
I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but I just have them.
I know what you're going to do with them.
That's not what that's for. There's tons of tips and tricks in those about being a modern man in the early 2000s.
What how to mix and match your shirt, your dress shirts, and your jackets.
That's how to be a throwback man now at this point, if you've had them that long.
I do.
Not a modern man. But that's okay.
Okay. So anyway, I would never throw my magazines in the back seat of my car. I would always take care of them. So I don't relate to this at all, but I have known people that have done that, and they forget about them back there and they turn yellow or they just fade. So I get it, right? I get it. But the reason why I've had a star and then I scratched it out is because I love the way this song starts. We talked about Hot Mulligan. Like the beginning of this song gives me a Hot Mulligan vibe, like that raspy shout fits right in with that sound. I just caught that right away, and I thought that was great. But it's not the way the song really went for the majority of it. I'm not in love with the rest of the verse or just the general lyrical melody of the song itself. It just didn't go the way I wanted it to. I think the chorus had some good stuff in it, some cool, but I don't know. I thought it was clever what they did with the title and mixed that in. So I thought like the sentiment of the lyrical structure was fine. I just couldn't get into the music as much past that first part.
Chris, I feel like we need to have an intervention. Like if you're saving Maxim magazines from like 15, 20 years ago, I feel like we need to just like unhoarder you up and like
this isn't like I have newspapers.
You're like George Costanza's dad with his TV
They're
guides.
Organized on a shelf in my closet.
How does that help your story? You can get rid of those Maxim magazines.
I want them.
Chuck them out.
Why do I have to get rid of them?
You don't read them. They're taking up valuable space. I could
read them.
You could, but you don't, and you won't. Ever.
How do you know?
Until you're long gone and your kids are like, why does he have Maxim from 2002?
Maybe they're interested in what Tara Reid has to say. Right?
Trish Stratus on the front. That's why. It's all those wrestling ladies that you kept.
No, it's actually one of them as the woman from, what's that Kevin James show, The King of Queens? I think she was on the cover one time.
Does that make you feel better that it's not misogynistic?
I can access them anytime I want. They're there. If I throw them away, I never can access them again.
And you would access them the exact same amount of times if you kept them or if you threw them away.
You don't know that for sure.
I kind of do. I think I do.
How do you know when my son doesn't grow up? Like I can give those to him. He can grow up, or my kids. I have a couple. It doesn't matter, right? Yeah, you kind of pass those on.
He can use those for unpure purposes too. Later
Easy. No.
Yes, Maxim was it was a good magazine for
it was a good magazine.
Car Seat Magazine. Little screamy lyrics in this one. I kind of found this one kind of a little forgettable, probably because it has a lack of a strong chorus and the combination that like the front seat magazine being the thing that's forgotten. I don't feel like it's the most relatable metaphor. It doesn't matter to me if it's 20 years ago or if it's today. I don't, I didn't really find it. The only thing that I thought was interesting is he keeps talking about his red Corolla. Okay, we're talking about a old school car here, but no, I found this one a bit forgettable, to be honest. What'd you guys think? And talk about your opinions on Maxim magazine if you'd like, Chris.
Sure. Yeah. I don't have any glaring opinions on Maxim right off the bat, but so in contrast, I actually loved this song. Kind of that classic, 3-chord pop punk banger, very nostalgic kind of road trip theme to it. I don't often analyze lyrics, as you guys know from the last hour here, but I love the call response vocals between Ryan Locke and Patrick Carlton, and just the overall layering that we see in it. And I think that it's maybe the most marked example of that we see, that pairing that's kind of always existed between those two guys within the band and within the other albums that they have. So I think that was really cool. I think that was nice to see that. And it sounds great when they hit it on the head like that.
PunkishDad? I'm going to agree with Chris G on this one. I love this song. So a couple of things. That chorus, quit coming around in your old red Corolla. When I first was listening to this album quite a bit, first discovered it, it's been 7, 8 years ago at this point. But we had an intern at work, and he drove an old red Corolla. And so I joked with him that, hey, if things don't work out here, we'll just play this song for you. Quit coming around in your old red Corolla. Luckily, things did work out, and he stuck around. But at the end, there's this great bridge where everything drops out except the bass and the vocals. And some folks won't appreciate this, but the bass tone is just fantastic. There is totally a Mark Hoppus tone. Got to be a P bass through an Ampeg amp, and it just sounds exactly like the Toy Padge classic Mark Hoppus pop punk tone. So small thing in there, small sliver. I've been kind of playing a lot more bass lately than I have in prior years, so that stood out to me a little bit. But overall, I find this song really catchy. I find myself singing it every time I see a red Corolla, actually.
All right. That's probably pretty often. They are very common cars out there. And we may all be 40 and over. I'm not sure exactly, but let's talk about 40 over. Lad, go ahead.
Yeah, I think this one is, to me, it seems like a false closer. Like it would have been a great closer on the album. I think it has a little bit of a somber tone. It goes into a bridge that has a really cool alternating riff, just alternating basically between a couple of notes. And I love the lyrics in the bridge of "Smile at me from across the room, reprehending me the way you do." I just love the delivery of those lyrics. And there is a lyric in there of "She's a Midwest beauty waiting all alone," where I'll sometimes sing that to my wife, kind of thing, as we're listening to it in the car. So
That's
overall, I feel like this is it's a little bit somber and moody, but also really catchy, and great chorus that's a little bit screamy. And I feel like it would have been a good closer. We'll get to the closer here in a second, but overall, this is a strong one for me.
Chris 183.
I think the part that I'll pull out of this one is I like how the song shifts on the drop of a dime. It seemed like it came out of nowhere when it shifted gears, and I thought that was interesting. I do think, when the song gets louder later in the song, it's the best part of it. Some really cool drums, some drum work here, somewhere, after about the 2-minute mark, 2:15-ish, let's say. And I think overall, like I said, the loud part is the best part. It definitely picks up, and I think it's much more enjoyable in the second half, which to me was enough. Like I really thought this was a great one, and I agree with you, PunkishDad. I think this would have been a great closer. It definitely has a lot of descript parts, whereas, spoiler, I feel like the closer has a lot of nondescript parts, but we'll talk about that when we get there.
Chris.
Sure. Yeah. So I had 2 notes right off the bat. This one reminded me of The Weight from Hoser. And I'm glad you guys have talked about Hoser. So that one hits a little bit, but it reminded me of the style and the tone of that, as well as Alberta a little bit, mainly in the intro from their EP they had come out in 2014. That was a great track, but the intro and the overall kind of stylistic pattern of the song reminded me of those two. Very clean, soft intro riffs, mild, soft vocals. Not always a huge fan of that when listening to this, but I think it worked well for the position on the album, and I agree that it could have been a closer as well. So.
Yeah, for me, this is one where, the guitars and the sound of it are like very dark, but the vocals are very light. I feel like I kind of liked the music and the vibe of this song, but I didn't necessarily care or get into the lyrics all that much. Lad, you mentioned the bridge. I think that was probably my favorite part of the song, and I enjoyed it. And I do kind of agree with you guys that it potentially could have been the closer.
So what did you think about the closer?
Chris just texted me a picture of Hozier, Hozier, not Hoser, the album. This is what he's texting me in the background, and I'm calling him out for it, and he's so happy. Is that what a Hozier looks like? I didn't even knew that. That's a weird looking person.
I don't know. How about this last song?
We listened to that album, Hoser. That's like a Canadian term.
Yeah,
it is.
That's what I said.
Gotcha. Okay. When I hang up, I don't know if I was just kind of finished or ran out of words to say, but I didn't have all that much to say about this one. I felt like it was a nice, fun paced song to kind of conclude the album. It was one where I like the verses way better than the chorus. And I feel like, Seaway is a band that knows how to put on big ass choruses, and they probably could have hooked me a little bit more with something else, but they did not hook me really in with this one. And that's it.
Chris?
Sure. Yeah. So I think this is a great closer to the album, just in terms of how they've closed the other albums. Reminds me a lot of Deferral from Hoser as well, which is the last track on that album. They've kept the vacation theme and distance very strong throughout this whole record. And I think that they closed it off well too. It's not a slow song, but not kind of a, high energy banger either. So I think it fits where they put it.
Nice medium pace.
Yeah.
Okay.
I get it. I get it. PunkishDad.
Dude, he's out of breath. I think he just ran a marathon somewhere. I don't know what he just did.
Well, I'll go while he's out of breath. So I don't have much to say. I don't have any notes here, guys. I didn't have anything to say. I thought it was nondescript. I already said that, so I blew my own cover here. I think it was just kind of this is an album track at the end where it just does what it does, and I didn't feel like it really left me with any kind of feeling. I thought it kind of left me with just another song at the end of the album that is fine to do, but I like albums that leave me with that leave me with an impression, whether it be, something clever or unique, or something that sounds good, or something big. Even if it's some sort of, maybe sometimes bands do like a ballad at the end, and even though that's not necessarily always a hit in my book, it's different. It leaves an impression. This one wasn't. I feel like it was just one of those, similar to what I was talking about earlier in the middle of the road. It's just one of those tracks. So if you guys feel different, that's fine, but I couldn't get past that. So PunkishDad, where you at?
Yeah, I've regained my breath now. This one, I think it's okay. It's I still think 40 Over would have been a better closer, but I think maybe the lyric, I'm not the biggest lyric guy, but maybe When I Hang Up, and just the title of it, and those are the final lyrics of the album, maybe that's intended to be the closer. And I do think by the time they get there and they just have the guitar kind of ringing out at the end, I think it's satisfactory closer, but they maybe could have done without it. But that said, I don't skip it when it comes on. There's enough that interests me in the guitar parts to at least keep my interest for the 3 minutes or however long the song is.
If I was gonna quote you in a magazine, I would have in quotes, "I think it's okay," quote unquote, "satisfactory," quote unquote, "skip it if it comes on." That would be like dot, skip it if it comes on.
Why do you keep opening and closing the quotes? Couldn't it all just be in one quote?
No, because it's different pieces of a quote. It's different pieces of a quote.
More effect.
Yeah. I'm the one writing the article here, not you. You can't tell me, you're not my editor.
PunkishDad's the editor.
Well, no, he's the subject.
He's the editor-in-chief of this month.
Of February.
True. He is.
I'm allowing some journalistic discretion for Chris 183.
Well, we ended things on a satisfactory note for sure, but we did it. We got through all 12 tracks, and we had a lot to say, guys. This was quite a opinionated journey for us, but that's okay. That's what we do here on the show. Hopefully you keep those opinions close to you, because we're going to head right into the next segment. And for those of you that don't know, we like to do a segment on this show called Ranking It. And it's exactly what you think it is. We're going to rank our top 3. Maybe you didn't know that, but our top 3 favorite tracks in order from 3 to 1 from the album Vacation from the band Seaway that came out in 2017, guys. It's time, and we usually let our guests go first, but you know what, PunkishDad, because you are the de facto person in charge this month, you get to pick the order of ranking it today.
All right. Why don't we have Chris G go first, followed by Chris 180C. And then we'll go to Wingman Steve and I'll close it out.
All right. Sounds good. I'll kick it off here. So for my number 3 spot, it was very close between the one I chose and Car Seat Magazine. So I didn't choose Car Seat Magazine, but I was really close to. Something Wonderful took number 3 for me. Lyrics really hit hard, which is not typically a factor for me. So the fact that they made that one earn the spot. I love the riff, just a classic chorus music pattern. So that one had to take the number 3 for me. So number 2, I had Scatter My Ashes Along the Coast, the Caleb Shomo song. Love that chord progression. The sound of the whole track just grabbed every bit, every fiber of what I'm looking for in a pop punk song. So, the verses build. It's just a banger all through and through. So that's a really fun one to play as well. And that's kind of a very, very high point to hit on for me. A lot of times what draws me in is what I like to play. So if it's fun to play, I like the song more. So that one got the number 2 spot. At number 1, I had Apartment. Had to go with it. Big, loud, punchy track. Everything that I want to see in the opening track of an album. So, kind of contains all of the classic Seaway elements in my opinion. So that's my 3.
Nice.
All right. I get to give my 3. So number 3 for me was an earlier track on the album, and that's London. I really got into the melody here, even though I felt it was simplistic. I thought it was very effective. I love the chorus, love the guitar, a little bit harder of a sound. Again, this was a great musical package for me, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So this was number 3. Number 2, I kind of had to make a decision between 2 songs, Lula on the Beach and Curse Me Out. I went with Curse Me Out for my number 2. This is just I don't know. It was the melody. It was the archipelago. It was the breakdown. It was all of,
And Lula on the Beach is not included.
It was all of those things. It's not funny.
Yeah.
I'm
laughing.
It's not funny, but it's not fun. The number 1 for me was Misery in You. This one, it was just an instant 2 stars for me. This I don't know, just really like the sound here. I got the feeling of the sound that brought me back to nostalgia a little bit, mixed with pop punk, and I love the way that sounded. So this one hit different, and I thought it hit best. So those are my top 3.
All right, I'm up next. This album is a top-heavy album. That's not to say that the entire album is not good. I enjoyed this album thoroughly from front to back. However, the absolute best songs are packed into the first 5 or so tracks. And my number 3 is Something Wonderful. Ross and Rachel, Zach and Kelly, you got me. Number 2 is London. I Don't Want to Go to London. For some reason, I can only hear the Third Eye Blind version right now, but Seaway's version was also really good. And Chris G hit the nail on the head. There is no fucking way that Apartment is not the best song on this record. It is my anthem for the past week or so, and it is so good. And they kicked it off right, and that's my favorite song.
Cool. Well, let's see. For me, number 1 and number 2 were easy enough to choose. Number 3 is where I really struggled. I feel like there was a 4 or 5 way tie. So I'm just going to pick one, and I'm going to say London. As the number 3, I really like that little riff and how it gets heavy into the chorus and big. Number 2 is going to be 40 Over. Something about that somber, moody tune just struck a chord with me, and it sticks. And I find myself coming back to that one on a regular basis. And number 1 is Day Player. I know you guys threw shade at it, but that is a catchy as hell tune that I can't get out of my head. So listen back to it one more time. Listen to that guitar lick. It's just a brief solo, and it is just really, really good. So I'm in the minority there, but proud to be.
It's all right. You're the only one with that one on your list, but you love it, so we love it for you. And Chris and PunkishDad, it seems that you guys are probably slightly bigger Seaway fans overall than us. Let me just ask the question: is this the best Seaway album?
Chris, you go.
Oh, that's putting us on the spot here. I don't know if I can say yes. Hoser's where I found him. Hoser is kind of what introduced me to the sound. I think I would have to say Hoser is for me.
So you're holding on to your dude ranch. Okay.
I am. Exactly.
Is PunkishDad gonna toy podge it? Let's see what he says.
I'm gonna differ. Yeah, I'm gonna say this is their strongest overall album, followed by Big Vibe. And then there's another one that was like partially, I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head. I'll have to go find it. It was like a mix of they redid some of their own songs and then had a handful of new songs. I'll find it shortly here. It's under compilations, I think. Yeah, Fresh Produce in 2019. That one was really solid as well. Had like alternative versions of some of their songs they had previously released, and then a handful of new songs as well.
Yeah, again, I don't have the full scope, but I will say we've listened to Hoser and we've listened to Vacation, and I do find I think this one, I think I enjoyed it slightly better just because of it's a little bit more polish. Maybe I'll listen to Hoser and this one back to back. And then I have two more. I have Colorblind with an OUR, and I have Big Vibe that I can listen to. And, maybe if PunkishDad wins 75 more Jeopardies, then we'll do the other two albums. We'll see what happens.
That's the goal. Now, I do need to call out, they did a cover of Just What I Needed, which is an old, I think, 80s song. Mm-hmm. And it's really, really strong. So if you want to check that, if you liked that Just What I Needed song, I think by The Cars. Anyway, it's like a totally rocked up pop punk version.
Just what I needed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really good.
Cool. Do I get to go? I don't think I have much to say though.
Go ahead if you'd like.
Look, I don't look. I don't even remember what we talked about Hoser. So, but here's what I'll say is that I don't know if this is necessarily my brand of pop punk. Like I think I get what they're trying to do here. I think they do some decent things on this album. Would I listen to this album again? Sure, why not? Would I go out of my way for Seaway so far? I don't know. I'm not blown away. But it's intriguing. I'll leave it at that. Where I do feel like I'll listen to whatever else they have. I will go back and listen to Hoser one more time to form a little bit better of an opinion. Now that I spent some time with this one, to really kind of solidify in my brain what I think about this band. So stay tuned. We'll come back to that eventually.
Yeah, and I think if they do kind of come back and do a tour or something like that, this would be a band that I would be very interested to check out live and just see what the show is like. I bet they put on a good live show. Chris G, you said you saw them, and they pulled you in. I would love to see them. So if they come back, I would purchase a ticket most likely. Chris G, anything on the Instagrams or places that you would like to let the folks follow you on?
Yeah. My brother and I have a page that we make an attempt to be kind of like PunkishDad with. It's cautious.optimistic. Little tip of the hat to MXPX. So so we do guitar, drum, bass videos on there, similar to PunkishDad, but not quite the level of PunkishDad. So,
and PunkishDad, your handle for anybody who doesn't know.
Indeed. Well, Chris sells himself short along with his brother. Both good dudes and doing awesome covers too, and they like really good bands. So check them out. My handle is punkish_dad. Don't forget the underscore. You'll get some other dad if you don't put that in there. But if you like pop punk and pop punk guitars, that's generally the theme of my stuff there.
Thank you so much for this entire month. Congratulations on your Tournament of Champions Jeopardy win. You are an encyclopedia of pop punk knowledge, and you have bestowed upon us 4 albums that had been forgotten by you or us or the world. And I think that we had a really good time talking about them. So thank you for organizing this month for us.
You are very welcome. Thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely. And I had fun too. I'll tell you what, even though I might have some opinions, PunkishDad, I love going into albums I've never heard before or never had the chance to talk about before. So this was great for me. And hopefully, the audience out there that feels the same way, felt the same way about these albums that maybe they'd never heard of before, or maybe bands that they wish they would have spent a little bit more time with in the past, or maybe just never got around to it. Well, now they can, now they should have, and they get our opinions as well. So really awesome stuff. Appreciate that. And you never know in the future if you just win the Tournament of Champions Jeopardy one more time, we can do this again. I know that's a big thing, right? That takes a lot. It's a big journey, but it can be done. And for everybody out there, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully, again, you enjoyed the show. High School Never Ends. We appreciate you, and we appreciate you giving us a review on Apple Podcasts. So if you have one of those Apple devices, you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, we would really appreciate it if you go and give us a review. Write up what you think about the show, what you liked about it, what maybe you didn't, maybe you'd like to see differently. And even if you don't like to write anything, that's okay. Just give us a 5-star review if you enjoyed yourself today and any other day that you listen to our podcast. It helps the show, and it helps us move up in the ranks of pop punk podcasts. Did you hear that alliteration? Also, don't forget about our shop. We have some really cool stuff available with the High School Never Ends logo, everything from cups to hats. Really cool stuff on there. Go check it out. You can get there via our hub, which is www.hsnepod.com.
Yep, and we can you can help us by following us on the socials in several different formats. If you want to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/HSNEpod and be like Ashley, Jason, Sam, Chris, Nick, Tom, Jeff, Punk Rock Mom, Punkish Dad, and Punkish Dad's friend. Support the show and get bonus content there. Or if you choose to go the free route, you can follow us on Instagram at HSNEpod, or join our Discord channel where we chat all about pop punk music. You can find that on hsnepod.com. This is the end of Forgotten Favorites February. Chris, thank you for joining us. Punkish Dad, thank you for hosting with us. We're going to be back next week in March with an all-new episode, an all-new theme. Until then, keep on rocking your dad bods. Throw up your rock hands and blast the pop punk. Bye.
It's Dragon Wagon.